Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Trine. Let's continue. So, we are not in the latest level, we're instead in the next level that I haven't found the one experience from. There's definitely like probably a collectible somewhere pretty obvious that I've missed, and so I want to just rush through this and see if I can find it without like immediately dying. Let's see. I guess that can work. We're still stumbling with a lot of stuff here as far as just generic solutions to puzzles. Alright, well, I thought the idea here was to try and get that to fall down, but yeah, I thought that was what we were going for here. We have only like one item left to collect, so like the thought that that one item would potentially would potentially be just like a game changer is probably unlikely. This was the level certainly also that had just a lot of weirdness going on with it as far as let's see. Why is that not heavy enough to make this tilt? See, I think there's something up there, but I can't tell. Ah. I now see the trick. So we've got two tilting platforms, neither of which I can really use to get to the other direction. And with our new triangle ability, it's relatively easy to get up anywhere you want to get. Assuming you don't then stupidly fall to your death. Right, so yeah, over here could get you up here, which there must have been something collectible there at one time. Yeah, the platforming still feels a little rough here. Yeah, I've both criticized this game and praised this game for its platforming, which definitely indicates an inconsistency with some of this. I would say the bigger issue certainly comes down to just a generic fact of it's not being much of a it's just not much of an experience otherwise. So it's not like it's not really something you want to spend a lot of time with and get really good at. So it's probably a very good thing that the controls are fairly tight, because if they weren't, then I would probably never want to go through the whole thing. This level was super long too. Because of its awkward design. Alright. And we just need one experience. So we know it's somewhere relatively like out of the way. Let's start here. Let's make a triangle here. I probably did have the triangle platform ability. When I played this level the first time. Alright. Well, that's not gonna work. So check. Just go through all of this. Releasing one spike ball. I don't know what happens if I die all the way through. See, like, ideally... Alright, so that was my resurrection. And we've got to get over here to refill everything. I would have... If I die again, then I'll, I guess, at that point, see what happens. It's definitely a lot to have to go through all of this, like, a second time. And yeah, anywhere and everywhere could be a place where there's a collectible. Interesting. Have to hit that to get the platform, if you really want the platform. Arguably, maybe you don't need it. Maybe you do. Just move that relatively out of the way and then swing. Now we looked up here earlier And I thought it would be fairly unfair if there was a collectible up here, but I am not 100% sure that isn't exactly the case. Now that we're starting to look for more sneaky hidden things. And frankly, you can just cheat this anyways. Yeah. But yeah, if there was something here, I think we would have seen it by now. Yeah. So I guess that was just a room with nothing in it. There probably was something in there originally. Right. Go and go. Or just cheat the whole thing and go that way. And cheat the whole thing and go that way. Well, that may change now. I lost all the wooden things. So now I have to do it legitimately. And they probably did that fairly intentionally to make it a hassle. Which, arguably, some of these levels are starting to become more hassles than enjoyable challenges. Alright. We see up here nothing. I want to break that. And we want to break that. Up here there's no collectibles. Over here there's no new collectibles. We want a couple squares to activate all 3 of those. Down we go. And there's a treasure. Let's move on. We know that there was some experience up there. Is there possibly something up here I missed? I'd think if there's something up here I missed, I'd be surprised. I bet if I missed anything, it would be closer to missing something down below. Interesting. Cannot break that. So I'd have to get up there and hit that if that's something I wanted to do. I am managing to kill myself pretty badly. I see a little bit of green in the animation and such. This was another point where I thought, well, maybe there could be something. But the height you can go is barely that much. So going this high doesn't really work, and I can only seemingly make one platform at a time. So unless I was supposed to build some incredibly crazy tower, I don't know what I was supposed to pull off there. Same is true for up here. There's all kinds of lasers and fireballs. I suppose if you take a step back and look at a level like this where there's just a ridiculous amount of fireballs happening, this really does feel like a story being told centering around the wizard and his inability to learn the fireball skills, whereas the thief doesn't really have a section of story where the thief acts less successful or anything like that. The thief seems to be very capable of stealing things it wants to steal, and he had the ability to reflect these fireballs is interesting, but completely underused. You definitely had an opportunity in this to let you reflect fireballs back to the launchers, and then that could have been used as a way of temporarily disabling the launchers, for sure. Over here, over here, over here, over here. Then down this way to that. We've got switches. 3 switches to put things on. This was the one that was a pain. I'm just hoping that there is what I think there is here, and that the final collectible is at the very end of this level. Otherwise, there it is. Well, it is certainly reassuring to have that answered, because now we know all we have to do now is race to the end. Which, that's not that hard. Assuming we know where the end is. Which maybe we don't. Yeah, I think we don't know where the end is. Okay, where could the end be? It's gotta be somewhere higher, I guess. Yep, up this way. Okay. I see it. They put these platforms right in the wrong place. And I now completely remember which level this is. So this was fairly frustrating to get past this point. Let's see. Can we do it? No. I think they intentionally want you to have to swing with something that isn't going to want to swing at the moment. Made it.
We must climb the tower.
I have a bad feeling about this.
So 20 extra minutes to get one collectible. Alright, and so now that brings us to the Tower of Sarek, which there's an achievement for beating this, I think, without taking any damage or doing it quicker. Otherwise, we've collected all the collectibles, so we want to get all the collectibles in this level the first time through. This 16th level might just be a tutorial, a epilogue. There's also one item missing, and I don't know if we're just gonna always miss them, and we won't have the third upgrade until we collect all the experience, which means inherently there's never really going to be a great time in which you have all the upgrades unless there's a new game plus. And if there's a new game plus, we can play it on a higher difficulty, then that would be interesting. So we see a ghost, which is different.
Quickly, jump to the ledge.
We must get to the top.
So I don't know if this is the idea that the lava is slowly filling up an area, or if this is the idea that this ghost is just antagonizing us. We've got to kill everything until... Yeah, lava is slowly filling up. Not particularly fast though, so as long as you don't just totally bone this, I think you're fine. Although you want to be probably fairly careful here, because if you're not going to be quick about it, you will potentially end up ruining yourself. What happens if we hit this lava though? Is this just then painful game over? Because that doesn't feel particularly fair. And there's like no checkpoints here. Alright. Like, I don't have time to be goofing around with this. Like, seriously, how am I supposed to get that? That's... And we've definitely missed some collectibles. Like, and that's not one you can hit either, so I don't even know how you're supposed to get that. This definitely just feels like a scenario where they're screwing you multiple times over, and you're gonna potentially have to run through this entire level multiple times in a race like fashion. Unless we can just come back later, which that might very well be the case, is that we might be able to just come back later. There we go. Okay. I think there's a certain level of BS around the lava. It's not seemingly coming very fast. Well, I guess I could be wrong about that. So, let's say that this we were to die in each of these places. We've got no checkpoints. So like what am I supposed to do here? Like the idea of potentially having to beat the whole game as the soldier is just not real reasonable to me. Have they really just screwed us so much that there was literally... Wow. I guess maybe that was the case, is that the idea would have been that you should have been able to solve all of the puzzles in all the previous levels using any single character. I don't buy that for a second. How many did we get? We got all the skeletons. We missed 4 of the experience orbs. And yeah, this is just all lava now, so there's no way that you recover from that. Unless they let us go back and collect them. So I'm guessing what this is this will just infinitely spawn enemies until I can defeat them all. I guess it's not infinitely spawning them, but we are trying to get somewhere, clearly, and I don't know exactly where. I don't know what's hitting me. Let's see. They want me to make a platform, I guess, and then use this platform to maybe get up there, which I guess they want me probably to make some platforms like that. Okay, that makes more sense. Alright. Getting spiked because the stupid thing's in their way. Let's... Alright. Make another triangle platform. And that broke my own platform. Oh, this is terrible. It doesn't even matter if the lava is not rising, because you still have same old problems. We've got to clear enough to make a triangle to get here, and then we need to probably make another triangle. Well, or we'll take a box. And we touched a crystal, which I guess these are 3 artifact containers that aren't animated very well. Kind of looks like it's almost a Triforce. And by touching the 3 items, we've separated the 3 characters, and they're in like different outfits than what we see. Like the thief's outfit definitely looks different zoomed in. The wizard's outfit and the soldier's outfit looks about the same. So,
As the evil vanished, the old king,
and our subtitles have disappeared.
Human soul was set free.
Oh, so that was the old king? Didn't realize that.
The artifact slowly restored the balance of the world.
I guess the artifacts were in the king.
Returned to the kingdom. In the spring, a new king was elected.
Kings aren't elected.
The king offered rewards to our heroes. The knight refused to become the captain of the king's men. Instead, he finally followed his father's hopes.
Wow, this is
and acknowledged his other passion, that of food and ale.
This is a odd animation.
Ale provider.
So the knight decides not to be a knight. Wow.
Was offered riches beyond her wildest dreams, but she felt a longing to go back to the forest ruins. The king granted her wish and gave her reign over the forest, where life slowly returned,
So now
restoring it to its former splendor.
she becomes some kind of elf
As for
thief
the wizard,
queen.
he finally understood that the road to success did not have anything to do with the fireball spell. He wasn't sure what it was, but saving the kingdom certainly helped. After being married a few years to a lady named Margaret, she gave birth to triplets. A charmed moment, many said. We also do not know whether the father felt pride, shame, or both, when each of his children mastered the fireball before the age of 1.
So giving birth to triplets
Despite everything,
definitely seems to imply that
happily ever
Trine
after.
2 will be centered around the triplets, although that would not really make great storytelling to have 3 triplets that were all the kids of the wizard. Because it's a worse story, certainly, to have 3 triplets who've known each other their entire lives working together to solve puzzles than it is to have complete strangers working together and becoming a trio and a team. I'm actually a little surprised how many people worked on this, but you can see significant amounts of engine programmers and programming. I thought this was a smaller company. One thing I can say is I looked at the price for Trine 2. I don't own it, and it's like $20 right now. So having this experience so far on Trine 1, I can tell you that I would not be willing to spend $20 to play Trine 2. Even assuming that everything is going to be polished and improved upon quite a bit, I don't think there was enough levels here. Perhaps they could have done a better job of making more separated bespoke checkpoints, and then a continuously loading game could happen. Since they had a checkpoint system anyways, like this could have been a game where they literally traveled from beginning to end without doing any of the narration and skipping to new locations. That would have been better design in my mind, certainly. And then there could have been just chapter points or checkpoints that you could have rewinded to. An overworld map would have helped that a lot, and frankly, just having an overworld map that unlocked while you were playing it would have been very helpful anyways, because that could be a system where if you happened to even walk near a energy experience orb, it would have been marked on the map, so you could have just, if you were lost collecting a map, energy orb, you could look at the map and look at like the closest checkpoint and respawn at that checkpoint. Basically teleporting between different checkpoints would be nice. That also opens up a potential improvement in the game, the way the game flowed. And since they already had a mouse input with the mage and the wizard, so having a mouse input programmed for a map would have been very, very easy to do. Well, relatively easy. Apparently someone died, and the soundtrack is in memory of them. A very, very basic, generic storyline. And yeah, a lot of this is straight up possible because of NVIDIA physics, as more of the PhysX, PHYX, is NVIDIA's branding for a physics engine, PHYSIC, that would focus on that. Well, let's see if we can get the 4 remaining things. 4 pieces of experience.
This doesn't feel good at all.
Alright. Yeah, you would think that...
Jump to the ledge.
We must get to the top.
And one would hope that this isn't a case where we're hoping that this isn't a case where there's one experience somewhere that I just totally missed. So we know where we need 4. So if we don't see 4 at the very least, then we're in trouble. Probably would be potentially a little bit easier. Come on. And doing the whole swinging trick actually doesn't work as well as I had thought it might. Was there anything over there? See, but you lose that one guy and you are then fairly screwed. Like, there is kind of nothing saving you if I'm having to move things. Like, that explosive arrow can only get you so far. Did I miss something over here? No, I got that one. This was the one though. Like, for the life of me, I don't see a way I can do this. Like, I can't bounce that up. So I can't break the spike balls. So that's one we're missing. We need two more that we would have to figure out. That's one. Okay, so you die. And when you die, you do just straight up restart the level. Alright.
This doesn't feel good at all.
So every little collectible, every little thing does kind of revolve around the idea of like making it to the top. And if you can't make it to the top, then you're just doomed. Alright, so actually, yeah, I just have two. Interesting. So I don't know if the game is doing me a favor here or what. Come on. Moving this. Gotta get this just right. That was a pain. Alright. I guess I could be using the shield. Did I get the other collectibles? Yes. Alright. Some of these paths are one directional. The idea that the evil king could generate these other abilities too, and then we saw none of the other enemies in the game do that, is fairly silly. Like, I don't really follow the logic behind this working that way other than they just wanted to have something work that way. Well. So where's the last bit of XP? Because I'm not seeing it. Like 1 XP missed somewhere. It can't really be too far away, can it? Let's make our platform. Let's make our triangle over here. Let's come over here. And come over to that again. Yeah, she has like a her outfit looks really different zoomed in. More interesting, frankly. The soldier's outfit by far looks the worst. It's just armor with no like gold inlay or silver or anything to make it stand out. And I guess the idea that he is a fat soldier was just not really even impressed upon me. I just thought he was a soldier designed to look rounder. Press again to skip. Well, I'm pressing again to skip and that's not working. Yep. Let's attempt number 3.
Oh, this doesn't feel good at all.
Unless there was something like hidden up here somewhere. I am at a loss as to where the experience might be.
Quickly, jump to the ledge.
We must get to the top.
Right. Okay. I mean, all I can really do is go where I have been before. Yeah. Very intentionally designed this so that you would fall at least once. Is there something to the left? Is there something to the right? Maybe I've never gone this direction. So maybe there's something over here to miss. I feel like there might be a green collectible down there, but I'm not sure. Did I go this way? Have I gone this way before? There it is. Alright. How can we hit it? That's the real question. Oh, we use the... We just use this to knock it down, don't we? So now we finally have a skill menu so we can upgrade every single ability, which is just totally useless at this point. And I now need to, like, I don't even know if I really would need to play all the way to the end, but let's just assume that that's the case. And if that turns out to not be the case, then I will be very surprised. There's some unfairness to this, I would say, in that you are getting kind of screwed over. See if we can slow that down a little bit enough to get over to the edge. Like you kind of get screwed over if you're not careful when you fall down. And that... Now I've got... This has me exactly where I don't want to be, which is nearly at the end. But I guess it doesn't matter, because we've done it again. You just have to get to the platform. And you can't skip this part. There's a real lack of characterization in these characters too. Like, we're given just this small, tiny indication that the thief is going to rebuild the ancient ruins, and that the mage is going to have children instead of being obsessed about learning the fireball spell, and that the soldier is going to just become a glutton on ale, or a brewery producer. There should have been a lot more seeds as far as ideas of that.
The artifact slow.
And you have to press A. It's not hold A, you just have to press A really, really fast. Alright, well, let's just make sure that this final level is that end cutscene. Nope, it is a whole level. Okay. So this is probably an enhanced edition new level. We know that there's no collectibles here. We know that we have all the items, and yet there was not a real solution to that. See, the idea, I think, was always to do something like that with some of these bridge puzzles, but it didn't really happen. I don't know if the So, mystery bottle collected. Well, the lava is slowly filling up. So I think this is basically just a more dangerous version of the Tower of Sarek. Right. And this is gonna be more and more difficult if you're not careful. Let's see. Grab another mystery bottle. There's kind of nothing over here. Another mystery bottle. Donkey Kong rolling explosive barrels. So there's definitely thoughts here as to here are some new things that could have been in the sequel. Interesting. This is just going more and more. It's weird. There's 5 more mystery bottles. And then this does just really feel a lot like there's that. That's the new bash attack that we didn't even use. Alright, well. Let's put a box on that. Get us there. Get up to there. Let's make a triangle. This is the new explosive triangle, by the way, too. So, wow, that is super slow. It's funny it's not even counting the mystery bottle, so. New adventure awaits. And let's check that now. Since it wasn't counting all of them. Oh, we did get all 10 mystery bottles. Interesting. Alright, so I assume the enhanced edition included the Path to Dawn option, which certainly then the next thing I would like to test out is this level. If we were to change the difficulty to hard without doing hardcore mode, could we run through this with all the abilities fairly quickly?
Did you not understand a word I said? It is not treasure, it's an ancient object, the Trine. I believe it has bound our souls. We are stuck together. But
I feel like I accidentally just hit a button at some point. And there goes the idea of not taking any damage. That's not gonna happen. I will probably watch someone speedrun this game, but I mean, you really would have to be a master to get all these achievements.
Oh, that's just great.
Like, you can do this as much as you want, and that's fine, but still not gonna likely avoid taking damage. Alright, well, even hitting the spikes is not really doing that much damage to me. Oh, there goes someone new. There probably should have been some places, I'm not sure if this did happen or not, where you were forced to collect experience orbs. Glowing green orbs tend not to be super spooky, but I could see a scenario where somebody would think that they were dangerous. A whole tutorial level like this would basically be around that idea of interesting. Well, what happened there? Oh, I see what happens. Is you fold it over like that. I think there is some kind of secret health potion back there. Health potions and mana potions totally useless in this game. Like, they might as well have not existed. It once again does make the whole game feel like it at some point it was a completely different type of game in development. This is the only point in any level before we hit that other level where we actually have to go back. And I guess this is also a point where they're trying to make it seem like the soldier is actually useful, which I'd argue he really isn't. And it's just so much easier to run than it is to play. Yeah, it definitely feels like there is a glitch that happens. Where the audio just does not play in the first playthrough, because I don't recall hearing any of these lines of dialogue. Which, once again, I will point out, I think I would have preferred the story I thought of off the top of my head, which was the idea of this being kind of like The Princess Bride, in the sense that the story would be told by a kid who is just telling a bad kind of fantasy story, and thus you can take your weaknesses of having really only skeleton enemies throughout the vast majority of the game, or almost all of the game, and you can explain that away as a little girl telling a fantasy story and just not being really that creative. Where is the way out? Over here? I guess it is. So, I do think you probably could beat the whole game on difficult. The harder difficulty. It doesn't seem like too much really changes. But I don't think that there's enough of a reason to do that.
What lay ahead of our heroes?
So let's save. So now we could see we've done that one on hard, and then we haven't done that one on hard, and we haven't done any of the others on hard. So yeah, Astral Academy of course would be very easy to do on hard, whereas the Tower of Sark would be probably somewhat difficult to do on hard, and Path of a New Dawn, I'm not sure you really have to do that one on hard, but whatever. Let's just make sure we save. Let's exit to the main menu. Like, not a lot of criticism, frankly, to have here, as much as you would think. It does seem like there is not much to say, frankly. I can't even think of anything special to say because it's just so simplistic a game. If we look at the achievements, this would be the only motivating factor to continue to play for me, and I just don't think I'd want to do that. Like, complete the entire game on the hardest difficulty, hardcore not required. I could probably do that if I tried, but and build a wizard tower of 12 created objects. Yeah, you could do that. Complete the Tower of Sark without any deaths on the hardest difficulty. That very well may be doable. In a single level, kill a monster while jumping on it with a knight, which I still haven't figured out how you actually do that, because that doesn't seem to actually work. One with the wizard's abilities, which I don't know what they really mean there, and one with the thief's grappling hook kick, which I do know what that means, but survive a level other than Astral Academy without taking any damage. That seems impossible, frankly, for most players. Even if we were playing like on easy, I guess maybe you could play one level really on easy, but there's not any specific level where there's very, very few enemies. They balance that out specifically so that you would get experience by killing about 20 skeletons in each level, which means there's going to be always more than 20. Complete level with 25 or more character deaths, like, sure, I could see that happening fairly easily if you force it. Conjure 200 objects, that would just be a huge waste of time. Complete a level other than Astro Academy without killing any enemies, that seems pretty difficult and impossible. Complete at least 3 jumps in a row from different skeletons without touching the ground, yeah, you can find a place to do that, certainly. But then get all the other achievements, no. And you don't get any special achievement for that extra level either. Yeah. So overall, I would say Trine is a B+ type experience if I was to give letter grades to the games I've played. It's not super interesting. If you get this cheap for like $1.99, $3.99, even $4.99, you're fine. If you're paying $20 for Trine 1 Enhanced Edition, then you've overpaid by quite a lot. This is a great example of a game where it could look very interesting in the screenshots, but it might be just super short. It feels like there should probably have been 45 levels instead of 16, and that the levels potentially should have been half as long, so that you could have gotten. So yeah, even if there were 16 levels and you cut them in half, and then sold it with 32 levels, that would have felt better. There's a overemphasis on the visuals of the platforms and the backgrounds and all of that, with a lack of emphasis on having a variety of enemies or like more interesting gameplay mechanics, because the wizard as a character is a completely uninteresting character to play as, and the soldier is just a generic soldier that you really don't want to play as either, and the thief's abilities are the only ones that are decent. So had Trine simply been a game where you played as the thief the whole time and she had a few more abilities and a few more polish on how she controlled, it would have been a much more interesting game to me. But yeah, I would have definitely been happier had the backgrounds been more generic. There'd just been less lava and gears and grass and trees. Had it been a flatter animation style even, so that the foreground in particular could stand out, and so when you did see a box or a platform or something that looked more interesting. If there have been plenty of other platforming games out there that have done that better. Of course, this also is a fairly old game. It's an old game. The original Trine obviously was like a 2008 game, and according to the copyright, and it was so focused around the NVIDIA physics, which I wouldn't be surprised one bit if it turned out that Frozen Byte was given publishing money or money from NVIDIA to use the NVIDIA physics engine. This is one of those games that probably got so enthralled with the new capabilities of the NVIDIA physics that they didn't particularly consider, were they making a good game in the first place, or did they have a good core concept, because this is a super generic concept. Like, I don't want to come off too critical, but it is pretty dull. And nowadays, NVIDIA physics still exists, but I don't think you really use that as your core physics engine. You would use something built into like Unreal or Unity as a physics engine. There might be plugins or add-ons that you would purchase separately to use in NVIDIA in Unreal, and then those physics engines would translate their code when it's compiled to something that could possibly use NVIDIA physics, but probably also would work with AMD video cards just as well, which inherently that's the problem with any single video card company introducing a technology, is that either they create a technology that's so good everybody steals it and copies it and makes like an open source industry standard version of it, or they make something proprietary and that proprietary code doesn't work well at all for the competitor, which ideally that would have been what NVIDIA would have wanted to happen, is to see the likes of ATI and well, yeah, I said AMD, but ATI would have been the competitor at that point. Yeah, they would have liked to see ATI really look worse and have games running on ATI graphics cards play worse, but that didn't really happen. Nowadays, in the most recent consoles, all of the graphics cards are ATI graphics cards, system on chips, and PC people still mostly buy NVIDIA graphics cards, so there's this split which just forces everybody to stay within the same general level of coding. Like the most recent new feature was ray tracing, and while that sounded for a brief second like that was going to be an NVIDIA only option that would only really work well on NVIDIA, they very quickly said, no, we don't actually need to do that in the graphics card with special code specific to proprietary to NVIDIA. Instead, we can just do it in software and do it just nearly as well. So the concept of ray tracing is going forward, but the concept of it being proprietary to NVIDIA went out the window in less than a year. Well, anyways, I'm getting off topic, so I'm not going to bother to try to play multiplayer. That might have changed your gameplay experience quite a bit, honestly. Yeah, I could certainly see going into multiplayer and trying to have everybody play the entire story that way. And I think you could have done that, even though it's called single player. I think if there were 2 other controllers. But then that kind of ruins the idea of trying too, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. Unfortunately, I don't have a second controller, so I can't go into a single player and hit a second controller. Unless, for instance, the keyboard would start it. But even if that was the case, that doesn't really matter. Yeah, you would really ruin the single player experience if all 3 of those characters could have been on the screen at the same time working together. But maybe that is what they intended. I wouldn't be surprised if actually multiplayer still has 1 player controlling each of the 3 characters and swapping between it, since that is so integrated into the story, and there's just multiple copies of the trios competing on the same levels, and it's just kind of like a split screen speed race. Yeah. I really wish there was more meat on this bone so I could have criticized it more, but as it is, it's fine. At some point, I probably will get Trine 2 if it's on a deep enough discount and cover it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's 2 or 3 years from now. That's going to be it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.